Hello, everyone. I am Chris Falco from Falconian Productions, and I am here storytelling for.
Andrew, I play Mason, a Dawn Cast Solar who's an upstanding member of the Pentex First Teams.
Peter as Dolores Star, the Heart Eater.
And I play the Abyssal, known as Goth Lady.
All right. So, first things first, before anything else, I just want to mention, as you can all see, Akilnos, otherwise, the player of Henry, is not here again, and that's because his work schedule has messed up, and probably at least throughout the rest of the season, he's not going to be here. So we're going to kind of put Henry in the background and he can do what he needs to while everyone else shores up any weaknesses they have in the group. And so on that note, we left off with the group having finished a heist at Pentex and then having come through a portal from the Shadowlands into a apartment complex that they basically collapsed. They did manage to save everyone, thankfully, but and then from there they pretty quickly got out of Dodge and found their way to a hotel with the help of some of Goth Lady's werewolf contacts. And they're waiting on one of them who might be able to come and help provide some healing. And at the same time, everyone, well, not everyone, the group called up, I'm blanking on his name, Ralph Cannon, their contact at the Hoover Dam, to hopefully take a look at the object they stole after morning arrives. Because they left out off at around 4 a.m. or so. So yeah, with that being said, Henry basically gets called by someone from the Magadon facility and is told basically he has to come and handle something, and he pretty quickly heads off. If I recall, he wasn't doing too hot, but he wasn't as badly off as Dolores was, so on that note, yeah.
He was off doing his own thing.
Right. So yeah, if assuming the combat tracker's right, Goth Lady is down a few ag and Dolores was knocked out by lethal damage.
Yeah.
And Mason took a teensy bit of damage, but will be fine by the time.
By the time the werewolf arrives, I will be fully healed.
Right. So, I suppose the werewolf will probably arrive first. She comes in through the back door of the hotel, the same one that the kinfolk had brought you to, and just kind of goes, well, she doesn't go unseen so much as just is good at that confident kind of I belong here thing and no one questions it.
Sure.
So, Goth Lady, you would know her as, I'm bringing up a picture in a second. You would know her as Susan. She's not in a dress or anything right now. That's just the picture I made. She's actually in kind of like a t-shirt and jeans that were probably thrown on last minute, because even werewolves probably don't wake up at 4 a.m. unless they have to. She's basically one of the very few of the rural sept that stays in the city. She has some connections within Pentex, and so, seemed like the obvious sort of person to send to you all to see what's going on. And basically, as soon as she shows up, she looks to Goth Lady and just kind of gives a curious, explain sort of look.
Yeah, I'm just sort of hanging out with, jeans and a t-shirt, having put away all the thief clothes, and drinking a Gatorade or something.
Yeah. So we could use your help. Do you know what that is? We stole it from a Pentex facility. Also, Dolores is really, really hurt, and I'm not doing so great.
She kind of looks over at the device itself, with a very confused sort of look, and then her eyes widen as she actually takes in the state that Dolores is in. And she speaks up and she says, "Wait, you stole from Pentex?"
Yep.
Well, Pentex steals from our wages, so we just steal back what's we're owed.
That's one way to look at it. Hold still. Let's see if this works to start with. And she walks up to Dolores and she uses Mother's Touch, which I swear I just had open. There it is. Yep, intelligence plus empathy, difficulty 5, because you don't have rage. Okay, damage type doesn't matter. That's the big thing there. And her dice pool is enough. Not great, but enough. So, actually, I suppose I can bring up my template thing and roll it that way. So 5, 5. This is on Dolores. Okay, that's 3 successes, so you heal 3 damage. Then she walks over to Goth Lady and basically repeats the same thing. Oof. How much does that cost again?
1 gnosis
1
point.
gnosis each time. All right, I think she'll give it another go. There you go. So you heal 3 of those aggravated damage.
Thank you.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Dolores, are you able to move?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
That's a pretty cool trick.
She just sort of nods and then looks back over to Goth Lady and says, "So, are these your new friends?"
Friends might be a strong word, but yes.
Let's see, does she even have... Don't think she... No, she doesn't have any of the detect supernatural, and she doesn't even have sense worm. Alright, so in that case, I suppose I'll just roll her primal urge for her to get a sniff at you all. Because in 20th, they can also detect some minor hints of the supernatural with primal urge, which is nice. She does not have a great pool for that, but she has something.
Also willpower points.
What about willpower points?
Yeah. All right.
Fail.
It's my willpower for automatic success.
She's just kind of casually trying. It's not like that important. She kind of assumes already that they're similar to you.
Yeah, they're like me, sort of. Also, the reason we stole this was because Pentex wanted it, and we knew it couldn't be for anything good. So
That makes sense. Should we worry about what happened to get you hurt when you did that?
They had a bunch of evil robots.
yeah, very evil robots. with
Yeah, the
guns.
whole room was made of metal, and then that turned into a person, and then I blanked out.
They literally watched the Terminator movies and said, "We want that guarding our shit."
She
Like all the Terminator movies, they had one from each movie. It was crazy.
she frowns a little and says, "Yeah, it does seem that Pentex in this city have even more of that strange high-tech stuff than normal."
Yep. I'm Mason, by the way, and the bleeder there is Dolores.
She does offer you a smile and says, "My name's Susan. I'm with the local sept up in the Valley of Fire State Park."
Oh, great! You're much more personable than the last 2 werewolves I talked to. Oh, I'm carrying silver on me. So you can probably smell that.
Um,
That might make her
No.
tingle.
Not unless you have, not unless she has some silver as a gift.
Yeah, you'd have to have it kind of like it'd be easy to notice if you had it like out and wielded, but yeah.
Right. You're not related to like those two guys in the parking lot. They
Did
attacked
they have-
first.
She raises an eyebrow
Did
like,
those-
I'm sorry, two guys in a parking lot?
Yeah, we were at a bar.
Yeah, you were at a bar. Did those two guys happen to have spirals on them all over?
Not all over, but they
Maybe?
did have that kind of
They
marking.
did have some like
You did study
a few
the
tats.
corpses afterward, right?
yeah,
they had spiral markings.
right, yeah. They got all halfway through the fight. So hope you didn't know them.
If I did, I'm glad
Yes,
they're gone.
Great.
Those were black spiral dancers.
Right.
That's a word.
We're kind of at war with those guys.
Okay.
She does kind of give Goth Lady a look at like the terminology explaining, but doesn't quite feel fit to prevent it.
Great. Well, okay. So they tell me that I'm the chosen, well, not the chosen champion of Helios.
Helios. So,
Yeah.
So you're Korax? You don't.
Nope. Just a regular dude, but I light up. It's fun.
Yeah, so
No.
you know how I light
Also,
up in
what's a
things
Korax? I look over at Gothlade. I'm like, am I related to these Korax things?
She's just gonna shrug. She doesn't really know much about the other Pharaoh.
She shrugs too. That's all you're getting out of her.
Great. But yeah, so we went to like the big palace in the sky and said hello, and that's what he told us.
I see. It's very rare for non-Garu to manage the trial to visit him.
I mean, there was the fire didn't burn very hot. Well, me very well. It was not so friendly to some of the other members of our little group.
Yeah.
But that's how we know that Dolores will heal up just fine.
Thanks.
Yeah, we just needed her able to move. So thank you.
Right. Yes. So there's the very brief introductions, and if you ask, how did you become the champion of Helios or blah 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 blah, the answer is shrug. A wizard did it. But
A Nexus Crawler event.
Yes, we were assaulted by a Nexus crawler. Weird things happened, and now I'm this.
Yeah, we were assaulted by a Nexus crawler. I died. Made a deal with death. Yeah, that was a very weird situation.
So,
Right? Yeah.
so they were
Go ahead.
changed like you, but not in the same way. They didn't. Did they die too?
No, I channeled the power of the Nexus of the sun and killed the Nexus crawler.
I see. She's
I'm not sure.
she's clearly taking note of all of this. Like, this is the kind of stuff she's gonna want to tell them about Goth Lady's new friends and whatnot, and what the hell's going on. Because, yeah. Obviously, both of the septs heard about, Nexus Crawler downtown, no matter how much they tried to cover that up.
Right. Turns out that the sun does not like Nexus crawlers, and they just go and make a little popping noise.
She nods again.
Although it was just a baby. It was just a baby Nexus crawler. I'm not going to be like. I'm sure a real adult would be really mad, and much harder.
She clearly has a wary sort of look to her.
Yeah. So, anyway, yes, we sold this magic box from the room full of Terminators, and I'm not the kind of person who just presses buttons at random.
We may have also accidentally collapsed an apartment complex on the way back.
What's this we stuff?
Okay, I may have accidentally collapsed an apartment complex on the way back. My magic to get us out of the underworld went a bit wrong.
Right.
No one died though. No one died though.
Wait, you were in the
These guys were
underworld?
Yes. I told you I made a deal with death. I don't know what you expected here.
She's clearly having trouble processing all this. Like, you're going to have to deal with the local sept more than me about anything collapsing. If they care. They might not. I don't know how important whatever building that was is to them.
It was probably haunted.
But yeah, the one of the reasons I bring that up is because since we were in the underworld, I should probably mention that the Pentex offices, they have some people working with them that can put things from the underworld where they shouldn't be in the underworld.
What do you mean?
We found these sort of dog-like ghosts, sort of, old evil and stuff. Normally, you find them down in what the ghosts call the labyrinth. Oblivion. And those dog things are usually found in the labyrinth or right around the labyrinth. They were nowhere near it. So they have someone who can take these things and bind them to a location, and that should be very concerning.
I mean, you can open holes in the underworld, into the underworld, I should say, and enter physically. It's not.
Well, yeah, I told you, I made a deal with it.
Well, then I guess they have to.
Let me roll her general area knowledge.
1 success.
Alright, she mentions, like, I know that there are necromancers among the leeches in this city. Some of the name breakers can do that kind of thing too. I don't know if it doesn't sound like a typical Pentex thing, but you never know with them.
Well, so when we were in the underworld, everything looks kind of like shit. I don't know if you've ever been there. Except for the Pentex Tower. That looked great.
Yeah, no, that was unusually pristine. Let's put it
And
that way.
I think it was also taller. I don't
What are
quote
name
me.
breakers?
That's a good question.
She doesn't explain it. She kind of looks to Goth Lady if she wants to do it.
Wizards.
Yeah.
Wizards.
Oh, I can call.
Name
those
breakers.
guys.
Yeah, they're who we're going to call about the box next.
Yeah, I don't know anything about their weird technology. It's not a fetish, I can tell you that much. That's about it.
What's a fetish?
Object with a spirit bound into it.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, and those objects, by awakening the power of the spirit bound within the object, get magic powers. To put it in layman's terms.
Okay, and we're going to have to give you some magic lessons, and you can sort of catch me up on that part.
Yeah, look, I'm sorry. I know a little bit about the stuff about like the werewolves, but everything else I'm pretty new to.
I mean, welcome to the club, but I mean, in fairness, I did blow up a lot of furniture learning to do the spells right, so I get it. It's hard and blows up sometimes.
I might have been able to get us out of there better if I hadn't needed to blow all my steam on those fights.
Oh, yeah. They were... I mean, yes, they were very injurious. They even got through me a little bit. Mostly the wolves did better. enough practice and get better, then you won't need to worry about it. But thank you, Susan, for your assistance. Is there anything we can do for you? I remember my manners.
I'm sure there is, but not right this moment.
So
Okay.
favor to be clear. Got it.
I should probably go and make a phone call or two.
Yeah, and probably report to the elders as well.
And if
They're
you can get me a phone number for a Korax, that might be useful. If that's a job title, whatever.
Just tell the spirits you want to talk to a Korax, and if they want to, they'll find you.
Okay, I think there's a fire elemental who might take a phone call.
well, thank you, Susan, for all of your help. And actually, wait a minute. Mason.
Yeah.
You know that thing you did to replenish my spiritual energy?
Sure.
My magic power thing?
Okay.
I wonder if it would work on werewolves.
Want me to try that? It didn't hurt her.
I'm sorry.
If Susan is okay.
What exactly do you mean?
So, okay. You know how the sun is sort of an infinite source of energy, blah, 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 blah. It's spiritual and light and otherwise.
She nods.
Okay. So I have within me a tiny, tiny, infinitesimally small fraction of that. So instead of, soaking up juice, I make it. And I can give out little bits. And so far it has not made anyone explode, but I've only tried it the one time.
I'm not sure I
But-
needed enough to be a guinea pig right now.
That is fair.
That's fair. But, if you ever do, I'd be interested to see if it works.
I'll keep it in mind.
Right. Might try it on a ghost next, see what happens. I suspect it will be spectacular one way or the other.
Alright, well, with that, if there's nothing else any of you need from her, she goes to make her phone calls and what have you.
Yeah, I will thank her. And let me check the charms on my owl totem, but I think it has materialized as a charm. So
So, here's a question for the party. What are we doing with the box? Like, are we going to stash it somewhere? Are we going to bury it in the desert? Are we going to take it directly to the Hoover Dam and stand outside for 5 hours?
I mean, why would we stand outside for 5 hours?
I mean, if we can get to the Umbra, we could always chuck it somewhere deep in there where no one will ever find it. Hopefully.
I mean, we spent so many resources to get it. I think we should figure out what it does rather than just toss it to the garbage.
Yes, that is fair. Also, there's no guarantee they couldn't just go get it.
So yeah, let's talk with our friend from the Hoover Dam, maybe.
Sure, I'll send my mentor Kevin a text. I'm not so rude as to call him at 4 a.m, like Henry was to the Hoover Dam guy.
Right. Okie doke.
Hey, I've got a thing you might want to take a look at.
Alright.
We can hang out here for a few hours and head over to the dojo in the morning, and then from there to the Hoover Dam.
Okay.
I mean,
Joe's-
in all,
Do you all
we could probably use.
sleep at all?
That would
I
probably
feel
be...
we slept in the middle of the night.
I don't have any charms for that, so probably yes at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we'll probably be shifts though.
We probably set a watch because we just looted an evil magic box in Pentex. Probably shut the box.
I mean, if you want to be safe, let's sleep in our Pentex building because it's keeping us safe.
Yeah, Yeah. Sleep in shifts. I think that's probably the best idea here.
Okay. That means I don't have to look up fatigue systems, which is good. Because I totally would have, and you all know I would have.
Yep.
So you all can sleep for a few hours, enough to not take penalties, as long as you don't do this every single day. And then you
Right.
said you want to go talk to Kevin first, and then go to the dam.
Closer. Yeah. Dam is like 4-hour drive away or something ridiculous.
Okie doke. Alright, well, the dojo, of course, probably opens nice and early.
Yep. I mean, if Kevin sends us somewhere else, we'll go there. But I assume it's like a set location. So.
Mm-hmm. Did I ever write down? Nope. Okay. I think I know what he had. It's all good. So yeah, he invites you to the back room of the dojo to meet him there. The kind of place where he does his usual tutelage of those he's trying to properly induct as sorcerers and whatnot.
Yep.
Because it's warded and it's his sanctum. So it's safe enough, as safe as you're gonna get with him.
Yep.
So he meets you back there and basically asks what's going on.
Right. I give him the same. We went to the underworld and stuck into a Pentex building and ripped this off from Pentex. There were Terminators there. I killed most of them. One got away, I think. And we escaped one. We were kind of running away at that point because everyone else was dying. And here we are. And we have this box. And it's lots of GWiz buttons on it, but I haven't touched it because I'm not stupid.
He gives you the sort of look you'd expect if that was a lot.
Yeah.
But nods and says, well, I don't know much about that sort of technology, but I can do a bit of... I can attempt to attune myself to the universal unconscious and see what I can find about it.
Yep. Definitely has some sort of spiritual presence as well. But it's not a fetish. We check with that, apparently.
He nods again and, motions for you to place it up on, not an altar, but a little... Yeah.
Sure.
So he arranges things in sort of a, sacred pattern around it, and carefully places his hands on it. And what have I been rolling for his Arete? 4 dice, I think.
I think so.
All right. Okay, so he takes a few minutes sort of attuning to it and attuning to what the record might know of it and all of that sort of thing, and eventually opens his eyes and says, well, as best I can tell, this is a scanner. It uses whatever the equivalent they might... It seems to be akin to technocratic hypertech, and is essentially a very complicated scanner, is what I can figure out.
Okay. But for evil?
It's just a scanner. I don't sense any sort of spiritual taint about this one.
Interesting. Maybe it communicates with something else. I mean, usually scan something, you want to know a thing, and
it seems to know things itself.
Maybe the canon can make more details about it. But now you know everything we know.
He nods and says, I don't think it's inherently dangerous, but I'd avoid putting your hand inside when you're scanning things. Who knows how it does that?
Right. I saw that show. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll let you know what we find out. Maybe the guy at the Hoover Dam Cannon has a better idea. I don't think I know the name Son of Ether yet, so that's why I just call him Cannon.
I think at some point they mentioned being part of the Society of Ether, but I can't be sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that being the case, that's all Kevin can really provide you.
Sure. But it's important to keep one's mentor in the loop, so
Yep.
I have.
And he's grateful that you kept him in the loop, even if he's nervous about what you're up to.
He should be nervous about what we're up to.
But
all right, then we get in quite possibly still Henry's car and head over.
All right. So with that, by that time, the Hoover Dam is open, and you can make your way back to where Ralph tends to be. You know, the people there that stand guard kind of recognize you, so that all works out. And, you know, he's busy working on, honestly, it looks like just a spreadsheet on his fancy computer. But when you come in, he does turn around, and he gives you a friendly look, but his eyes are already on what you're carrying.
They have this image up for our Gothly.
They have what?
Yep.
They have this image up
Oh.
for our new player and so on.
Oh, gotcha, yeah. That's true. He has not met Goth Lady yet. So, with that being the case, he does ask, who's your new friend? Oh, speaking of, I suppose that means she probably hasn't seen him either. Whoops, this is the wrong...
Yeah.
This is the wrong folder.
I am a child of Owl.
He gives you a nod and a look that says he also has no idea what you're talking about.
And a champion of death.
He's like me, but spookier.
Ah.
You can start with werewolves.
He gets it well enough with a Mason's description.
I excel at condensing a lot of information into very few words.
Right, so... And what's this? This is what you were talking about, I assume?
Yeah, we ripped it off of Pentex.
Of course you did. You want me to take a look at it?
Yes. They also had Terminators, in case you didn't know that.
Terminate? Oh, right. Hit marks.
Is that what they call them? Because they're just...
Yes, that sounds like you ran into Mark. He, takes a moment to think. 7? I think either 6 or 7. It did it look more like metal, or did it look like...
Did Mason scavenge some parts from them?
Oh, yeah. I have a power core. Sort of plunk it on the table, like thunk.
He nods and picks it up and looks that over and says, yes, that's definitely... Oh, wait, no. You took the power core from the Mark 9, didn't you?
So that's a Mark 9 power core.
Well, you
No
don't...
one had, words for him.
Yeah, so he looks
Yeah,
like... Well, no, this is a Mark 9 power core. This is their top of the line that they don't use, and he finger quotes that, because they don't field these anymore. Finger quotes again.
Well, maybe that means because they sold them all to Pentex.
Maybe.
It was sitting there guarding a storeroom. And not very well maintained, kind of rusty, as I recall.
This does look a little different than I would expect, actually, now that I take a closer look. Give me a moment. And he sets that down, and he kind of motions like you can put the box down over there, too. And he
Sure.
digs into a drawer, and it's a drawer that It's not one of the normal drawers. It's like the bottom drawer that's locked, and inside it is like a Faraday cage and that kind of thing. And he pulls out a pair of ether goggles and straps those over his eyes, and then pulls a cord out of the side of it and plugs it into his computer, which pops out another one of those little things I mentioned before. It's like a sphere filled with gas. And it appears to conduct, like there's like little crackles of electricity when he plugs it in there. It doesn't look like it should plug in there, but it does. And he looks at the power core first and adjusts the goggles, and the gas in there kind of swirls and changes and moves and spreads apart so you can see his eyes, and then it collapses back over again. And some information displays on the screen, which is, technomancer gibberish you can really grasp. Henry might have half a chance, but none of you would.
Right. I have a high occult score, but it's more ancient sorcery style. So
yeah. So he looks at that and compares it to what he had already figured just from looking through the goggles, and says, well, this power core it's got some, what do you call it? It's got some corrupted energy. You said you've been dealing with Banes recently, right? The spiritual things.
yeah,
Yes, it looks like
spiders.
it looks like this is the power core that the actual power source in this has been partially replaced with something ephemeral. Something like they took some energy chunk out of one of those entities and put it in here and learned how to derive power from that. And
It worked.
apparently, if you have some use for this, you can of course have it back, but I could try to figure a bit more out if I had more time.
It could take a while. If I figure out a use for it, I'll take it back.
Sounds good. And he puts that in like a shielded area of the shielded drawer, and then turns his goggles towards the box that you have and begins to look that over. And he reaches over and like reflexively types on the keyboard without really being able to see it. Like he knows it as well as the back of his own hand. And his brow kind of furrows a bit, and he's like, yes, this is what do they call it? A field material analyzer. It essentially, the best way to put it is it can tell you just about anything about whatever material you put inside it. If you want to understand something on a base level like the atomic scale, it does need to dissolve it, though. Unless it destroys the sample, but anything else that it can look into, it can do without destroying it. He turns towards the computer and puts the goggles up on his head so he can read better. Like, yeah, it's got 3 modes. There's frequency analysis, which essentially means that it can detect both primal energies, as they would put it, as well as normal energy and otherworldly influences on it. And then there's also mass spectrometry, which is what I just said, where it would have to destroy the material to tell you everything about it, the atomic makeup, the biological properties of it, that sort of thing. And then there's quantum analysis, which looks for essentially connections that it has with the wider world or with time and space.
Okay. Is it, assuming you don't dissolve something, is it safe to use? Does it call up Pentex and tell it what it found?
As best I can tell, this is a stock model. It doesn't have the same sort of adjustments that your power core there has. Any motions to that. I'm
Sure.
how recently did they get this? Do you know?
I look over at Dolores.
I guess I mentioned like when it was filed, and that's about
Yeah, it's
it.
pretty recent, past couple of weeks.
Yeah, it just came into it.
Speaking of which, it should be the next day.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, he nods and says, well, if they were going to do something with it, they haven't yet. Maybe they just hadn't gotten to it. Or maybe they actually
enough.
needed the base object for some reason. Who knows? But
Do you need to be a wizard to read it?
no, it's designed to be able to, even their enlightened assistants would be able to figure out what goes in it. It can power itself.
What powers it? It powers itself, you said.
Yes, it has a power core. It's just not the same sort.
Okay. I mean, I've got some stuff we could, like... I've got some stuff I'm interested in seeing what it says. Got some presents from the spirit world. I don't know if we have those on us, necessarily, but...
Right, well,
Might
it
be.
should be safe to try and use, yes.
Okay. Can they track its location? Is there like a tracking device or magic spell on the case or the object?
He looks at it again, says, I don't know.
That is risky.
But if they can, they certainly can't here. They wouldn't put something powerful enough in it that it would breach the defenses we have here.
Then it might make sense to leave it here. Seems like you could also make use of it. Seems like a reasonable exchange.
Yes, I wouldn't be against getting to take a closer look at this too. And of course, you're...
Exchange for what?
I look over the other party members, see if they have any objections to that.
Not at the moment. At least Pentex wouldn't have it. So.
Yep.
He says, like,
What's weird, Pentex?
you'd still be free to come and use it if you have use for it. And I can, again, take some time and check for sure to see if they have a way to track it if you end up needing to take it elsewhere.
Sure. There's definitely some, we got some golden powder, and that's really it so far, but we come across a lot of weird stuff.
Well, if you want to test that now, like I said, it should be safe enough.
Sure. Assuming we have any of it, I will try seeing what it says.
All right. Are you putting in like a tiny part of it and doing all three of the modes, or are you putting it all in but not doing the spectrometry mode?
I think we won't do the destroy it or any part of it.
Okay. So you put it in and set it up for frequency analysis and quantum analysis?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So he shows you essentially it's basically a touchscreen control, and you have to know which parts to get it into the right modes. But once he shows you, it's something that you can figure out easily enough. Like, it's just knowing which icon is which, that kind of thing.
Right.
So you set it for frequency analysis and quantum analysis modes, and what does it have? It has this many dice. And it begins to chug and scan, and you see these little, like, sci-fi scan wave going over it, and then there's, like, a blue color that goes over the area, and something, it's not quite electricity so much as there's just kind of some static to the area, and eventually it dings and the screen flashes and starts to output information. It starts off with the frequency analysis, and it tells you that it has a very heavy presence of dimensional energy and primal energy that is bound within it in a sort of potential form. Like, it's not going to blow up all of a sudden. If you tap into it, there's a lot there,
Right. And we didn't put it in dissolve mode. Kaboom.
Yes, you did not put it in dissolve mode. And then the quantum analysis comes up, and it tells you that this material is simultaneously as old as basically as if it was created as soon as you got it, and it's as old as basically longer than should be possible for it to exist. It kind of gives you like an error, like, you know, temporal temporal rollover.
Right. Signed integer not big enough.
Right. What else? It tells you that there's a connection back through to the you know, other dimension, the ethereal dimension, and
Right.
yeah, that's about it. That's all it tells you.
Okay.
Oh no! It also tells you that it has the sort of resonance you would expect too. You know, it's got a bright, solar, fiery kind of resonance, which I believe comes out to dynamic.
Strong link fusion, perhaps. Okay. So that certainly makes sense as opposed to where we got it. And it does give us a clue. There's basically a power... Essentially, it feels like the sun's version of your Mark 9 power core there. I asked the wizard.
Mm-hmm. From what I can read, more or less, it seems like it would be a lot more potent, like, but you would need to know how to use it. I wouldn't really know how to. I could probably tap into a fraction of this if I made use of it.
It's probably fuel, whereas that other one is a reactor, so there's the difference.
Right. It's probably also meant to be worked by your sort of magic.
Yeah, it seems plausible. That I won't leave here because it feels like we'd be tempted to. I'll just try a little bit.
It's like a super component for splendors.
Yeah, I figured. I gathered.
Make a holy hand grenade out of it.
But you don't leave cocaine in front of an addict. And you don't leave wonder components in front of a wizard.
Right. Yeah, you probably want to keep your powder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I put this energy sphere into my mouth?
Well, I thank him assiduously, and we'll get out of his hair and leave the stuff there.
He nods and says, I will send you a message with probably a overly long attachment and a simplified version of it once I know more about both of these.
Great. Kind of speak wizard. I don't speak science yet.
He nods.
Terrific. Okay. I do pass that question to Kevin about, like, can the fire elemental find us a Korax to talk to, maybe? Give us a phone number or something? What is it? And by the way, what's a Korax?
You help me find a Korax, and also, what's a Korax?
Yeah, I'm told they're like sun things, but shrug.
He sends a message back that, one, yes, he can at least put the message out there, and two, a Korax is one of the other types of shapeshifters.
There are types now? Okay.
Yeah, they're usually crows and ravens.
Okay. That's the thing. I thank him for his help. And we probably need to go to work at some point. What day is it?
Wednesday.
Yes, it's Wednesday, so yeah, you should probably go to work.
Yes. Hopefully Henry, in his not here status, and he'll provide us some work cover.
Yep. He's probably already there and probably already, signed you in. So.
Yep.
That being the case, I suppose you head to work next. Right. Let me check the healing chart for Dolores, because when you have 4 and you had some magically healed. Let's see, where's the pinned messages?
2 days.
2 days for wounded. Okie doke. Well, that being the case, I believe you had one more dose of that weird healing stuff that Mason found you. Or someone found you the other time that you got nearly killed.
And we stole it from some guy.
Right. Yeah.
Lab.
You have like one more dose of that, so that could get you down to a more reasonable healing time.
I mean, it's not that unreasonable. Just, time skip till Monday or something.
I mean, if
I
you don't
know.
want to do anything in the meantime while gears are turning.
Was there anything we need to be doing?
Well,
There were some things we wanted to. Okay, so we have to call a lawyer about your big pile of money. We have to deal with the fact that we ripped off of Giovanni to get it before that gets in front of us. So yeah, there's some things that you might want to do, but you might want to be healed for them too. In theory, we can also always rip off more healing potions from the lab.
I mean, there's only so many of them, but you do have the one at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Do we need to heal? I got a could function -2s.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah, I guess I can just live with it. Hoping to get into more combat.
All right. So, you're not doing anything to heal for now?
No, fine.
Okay. So,
But I do assume like my power goes back up to like 7 at least.
yeah, those of you who get your essence back in the morning got it back.
And plus we go hang out in the office.
Right, and the office gives you
right.
one every, what is it, like
3
3
hours? I
hours?
think.
Yeah.
Maybe even 15 minutes. Might be faster.
But 3 hours is in the Umbra. I think.
Yeah, 3 hours might be the Umbra. I think it's like 1 hour for Dragon Nests.
Might even be less. Either way, a full day of work will charge me back up.
Right. Let's see. Dragon Nests.
15 minutes is 1 essence.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. So yeah. Work for a few hours and yeah, you'll probably be fine. Okay. So that being the case, Dolores, do you want to, or Dolores, you already have your charm working, that basically the super hospitality one where if they eat and drink in the office, they start liking you.
Let's see.
The one that's...
Yeah, forging the prestige. That if somebody eats a meal or sleeps in this area, they have to roll willpower or either are compelled to linger or do as I tell them. Yes,
Right.
or as, yeah.
And to assent to her requests. Yeah, it's not like brain dead mind control, but it's more like default to yes on reasonable questions.
Yeah.
Or requests, I mean. Okay. You all are at Essence 2, right? Or have
Correct.
you ticked
Yep.
over? How many
Take a look.
supernal freebies have I given you total? Where's your battle sheet? I don't have that.
I've spent 20 so far, and you've given us 4 more that I haven't spent yet, so 24.
Okay, so you're
24.
not there yet. I'm pretty sure you need 32 for your next tier.
That sounds
Because we
right.
are using the Black Vault Essence progression, except we have that because we do freebies for experience. Which Holden hates as a thing, but he's not playing our game, so we can do what we want. Alright,
So there.
So 8 more.
okay.
I think you need 45 45 to get to
No, it's
Essence
it's
3.
65 for Essence 3 for normal experience point progression. Which means you need 32.
Okay,
It's in
yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
base.
Yeah, I was saying 45 because between
Difference.
Essence. Okay, my bad.
All good.
Derp.
Alright, so that being the case, I'm going to make a couple rolls for important people to see if they are under the effects of that. Give me just a sec. I just need to double check the willpower of thing. Okay. So 7 dice, and it's 4 plus your essence, right?
Yeah, so 6.
Yeah, okay. So I will roll this probably. You've had that for a little while. I will roll this 3 times. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. That person is not affected. The other guy can't be affected. The demon can't be affected because it's mind control. What's the other one that matters? I'm pretty sure everyone else I can just assume has been affected. Because, yeah, there's the guy that was... Or the girl that was under Henry, but she was already pretty... Yeah, I think...
Well, we had Jules, probably the boss.
That was Jules, yeah.
Did we have something from Murray?
Okay, so, Dolores, you'd be noticing by now that, pretty much everyone other than Jewel and, what was the name I gave the, demon guy? Rowan. He's not affected either. But everyone else is pretty agreeable to you and does whatever you ask. You know, to an extent. The extent of that charm.
Within reason.
Right.
Okay. So how do we want to take over this location? Do we just want to walk up to the boss and tell him to promote Dolores with the mind control, a separate charm,
Well,
or what?
I mean, missing Henry's mind control charm, it'll be a lot harder.
Well, Dolores
I
has
took
one
a
now.
similar charm.
True.
Yeah, I took
Well-
Gentle Iron Whispers. That has a idea that people believe that it's their idea, actually, in the end, if I spend the willpower.
Sure. It just won't work on the security chief or the demon. But the demon's okay. He's not really anyone's boss, and he's also we have an agreement with him.
Like, this won't work on the demon because it's mind control. He's completely immune to it. So Jules, I'd have to make a roll. That'll be fine. Probably
I believe.
a roll there.
Yep.
So I think I want to go into security.
Okay. So you want to go talk to Jules in security, or in the first team area?
Like, I don't think I need to go to security. I mean, I don't think she'd stop me from, going to whoever's in charge of this office and get promoted to the board or something.
Well, this office works as, your boss from here is remote for the most part. There's someone in the Pentex hub office that is in control of administrative stuff here, and then there's someone at the higher up Magadon office out of town that is technically in charge of here, normally. You do remember that Jewel was forced via mind control to admit that she has been ordered to look into you all, so...
Do be careful.
Mm.
So really trying like, could I use this remotely or not? Or like, I know.
You may want to
Like the
watch your
Gentle Iron
reaction.
Whispers.
Oh, if the charm works remotely? Gentle Iron Whispers against difficulty. And to do with 3 or 4 command target versus life. I don't think that one will work remotely.
Isn't like not unless on a Skype call or something. Or just like invite the overseer thing over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with Jules, I guess we'd be, I don't know, asking her who made her investigate us, or just tell her to investigate someone else. What do you want out of this thing? Because I don't think I have planned for dealing with her.
Buy your lunch and work your magic.
Yes, but what do we want out of this?
Mostly we want her to report that we're all normal and regular happy employees. We're just, rising stars here at Pentex.
Yes, in general, she was supposed to be investigating some leaks. So I guess we could always get her to tell us like what she found.
Yeah.
And then from there we could say that
I mean,
that
the
we're not
actual
involved.
target of her investigation is either us or Rowan, or possibly both. As far as it was from the description of the task she was set to.
Okay. So I guess we could have a meeting with Jules at some point. Go from there then.
Okay.
So I guess we meet her over lunch or something.
All right. So she'd probably be suspicious of just Dolores doing it, but if Mason invited her out to lunch with the rest of you, she'd accept
Sure. I mean,
that.
does it need to be in the office, Dolores?
I mean, it's better if it's in the office. Yes.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'm going to work my magic. The magic is called free sandwiches in the break room. It's a spell that has worked for hundreds of years, and no one has ever gone wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
We order sandwiches from a decent deli and have them delivered to the security break room, or the general one, and Dolores can meet her there. The conference, maybe our spoopy conference room.
Sounds good, but make me a persuasion roll anyway, just to not sound suspicious.
Is that etiquette or expression?
Either one's probably fine.
Okay. I will pump. No, just in case. I'll pump listener swaying argument just in case, and roll expression, I guess, as I'm really enthusiastic about this. I'll DC 6.
Yep.
I'll roll it 4 from the power.
Okay. 4 successes. All right, yeah, it's not very difficult to convince her to come have a sandwich for free.
Yeah, it works really well. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, she seems to glaze over any oddities of that compared to, when you... Actually, no, didn't you... No, you don't have a memory wipe charm, do you?
No.
Or, I mean, did Henry? I can't remember if his mind spiders can delete memories or not.
Mind control, I don't think he can mind wipe.
Yeah, okay.
He could make them not tell, but not. He could make them act like they forgot, but not necessarily forget.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I know he told everyone shut up at the end of the synergy presentation. But other than that, okay, so yeah, that's enough to glaze over, basically her suspicion of why she had blurted out that kind of stuff and should be suspicious to you all. Free sandwiches, whatever. She'll come have a sandwich. What's the worst that can happen?
Right.
She is a
Behold.
She is a mighty correct toy.
Yeah. What does she need to worry about?
Right. Okay. So she follows after you and basically goes to grab a sandwich. Kind of just gives a polite nod to everyone, but doesn't seem like she's going to try and integrate unless you make her.
Yep, and I'm totally grabbing a sandwich and stuffing my face while Dolores works her powers.
Yeah, come, Jules, sit with us. Just invite her over.
She holds back a sigh but goes and sits down by you.
Yes, I guess we start with some pleasantries or whatever, just some small chit chat, and then I guess we can transition over with the gentle iron whispers of Mason told me that you're working so hard investigating the possible leaks here. Could you share with us who's what are you suspecting, what have you found out so far?
Okie doke. Yeah, her willpower is 7.
Okay, so first of all, I have Smooth Word Style, which rolls my difficulty for all social rolls by 2. That's permanently active inside of my
Charm
layer.
activation is not a social roll.
Okay. Sure, then I'll just spend my activate my excellency then.
That will work.
Okay, so how many that's manipulation plus performance. So that's 8 dice minus 2 for penalties, that's 6 plus 5 from the excellency, so 11 dice versus difficulty. You said
7.
what? 7. And I'll spend the willpower on that as well. What doesn't count?
Wow.
Oh. So that's 1 success for just the willpower?
Yeah. Yeah, well, no, wait, is that a cast roll?
Yes.
Okay, it's a cast roll, so it's a basic success then, yes.
Yeah.
It would have been a botch if you hadn't spent the willpower.
Okay.
So,
also
yeah, 1 or 2 will allow her to command the target to do anything that doesn't seem tremendously unusual or out of character.
yeah.
Hmm.
And also the extra willpower to make her think that this is out of her own volition. And yeah, since we're in the layer, then this can violate her nature.
Right. But it's still just the 1 or 2 success tier.
Yeah.
Not too tremendously out of character. I guess what she'll do is she will turn to Mason, who is allowed to hear this kind of stuff, because you said tell us about it, right?
Sure.
Yes. She will turn to Mason and kind of like quietly, like, come to the side kind of thing, like kind of rudely spurring Dolores, even though she's fulfilling the mind control.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll listen, and
Mhm.
tell the party later. No reason to hide anything.
Right. She'll
I'll just
basically.
my listening charm.
I mean, if you want, sure, go for it. But
It just lowers my perception.
yeah, that's fine.
One.
Yeah, if you want to make a roll to just overhear her anyway, that's fine too. Avoid playing telephone.
Yeah, let me double check because I think it just automatically goes like, I hear like anything within my layer, even whisper.
Oh, I see. It's a different one than that. I know you had one that. I thought you had one that lowers the difficulty, and then there's.
Well, yeah, that's a rider for it. Like, oh,
Okay, she may clearly hear anything said anywhere within the layer, even whispers.
yeah.
Okay, so you just need to spend a turn in concentration, and then that also. Okay,
Yeah.
Yep. That works then. You don't need to roll anything. Okay, so you and Mason hear her explain effectively that you are all on a watch list of how to put it. You're on a watch list of basically they're deciding what to do about you. They've already decided they're going to do something. And they've found bits and pieces of evidence of you all have been doing stuff, and basically it's not good. It's in the same category of, it's not legal to put a note in the files that says eliminate this person, so, you're under the category of like, disciplinary action A17, which isn't listed, and they know what it means. So they've got good plans for you. And I say good ironically, of course.
Right. Lengthy and then short plans.
Mm-hmm.
I see. I think we can do this off at the pass, or like, are we just going to have to deal with it?
She tells you that, it's already in motion. Like, there's not much she can do about it.
Okay. Well, I know what I can do about it, and maybe you can tell us about like we get the job.
Tell us what?
Tell us who would get the task, who would be assigned this sort of work.
Oh. She doesn't know.
Okay.
Like, it's
Well,
the kind of
that's
thing where, like, she would be expected to help at that point if it's needed, but it's not the kind of thing they put on her head. It's like her boss's boss's boss in the other department.
okay.
Oh boy.
So that probably means that is a very distinct version of we're fired.
You're
Except
not officially fired yet.
not officially
Right.
fired.
Or
You can still come to the
promoted.
office. Badge still works,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, you can stop all your payment into the employee health plan.
I mean,
Right.
you could be like, oh, you guys have become something stronger. Okay, we're going to promote you.
Oh no.
Right.
Welcome to the inner circle.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I did sort of anticipate this happening eventually, a little sooner than I expected, but we've been up to shenanigans.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, you have.
all right. I guess once this conversation is over and we can't really get any, like, she runs out of stuff to tell us. It's like, well, it's time to turtle up.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to give her any other commands? Like, is that limited to one use per scene or anything? I already.
I wouldn't say that's one use per scene. I think it's just
All
like,
right.
oh, spend 2 essence and so on.
Do you want to command anything else of her then?
I
We
think
could-
that's. I think she could do.
Well, she might, if she's expected to help, she might be able to mislead them. Like, call us into an ambush, but it's a counter ambush and surprise.
I guess. Oh, let us know. You know. Yeah. If she hears that something's coming, let us know maybe, so we can prepare for the audit. I guess that's
Mm-hmm.
how I'm going to put it. And let's try rolling this again with another willpower.
Okie doke.
6 successes.
Okay, she is all too willing to help you and risk her job and not give a shit about the fact that she's a Fomori and should be serving the worm.
Yep. Yeah, the
Okay.
only thing I can't command her to do is be suicidal, so yeah.
Right. Sorry, I'm noting this all down just so I remember when I throw things at you later.
Yeah. And now, Dolores, we should take some of the money and buy weapons.
Oh, do you think any weapons will be better than what we have here in Magadon?
They don't track all of them, but probably yet. It might be better to have our own stuff.
Yeah, you can go shopping for guns.
Yeah, thankfully it's Nevada.
Mm-hmm. There's not even like a waiting period, right?
Yeah, no, you could
Yeah,
just walk
we
in
looked
and
into this before, so yeah, you're all, you know.
right.
Oh, good.
You in particular might want to like buy some body armor or something. You're kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sure, I can go and buy some body armor.
right. Goth lady, you need anything?
I have my own connections.
Okay. Let us know if you need like money, because Dolores has absurd amounts of money, and it's going into like a shared account that I'm sure I called I have a lawyer contact, so I probably called him about like, hey, can you help set this up so it's not ridiculous? And yeah. So if those connections also need money, you let us know. It would be really hilarious if we got this to happen while in the meeting with the prince of the vampires, but I think that's a little too chaotic for now. That's a that's a later entertainment for me. Okay. So it sounds, but all right. So we may want to move important people or things to us to a more secure location. Right? I know you've got like your own apartment with your cats, and you've got whatever the goth lady has, and I probably rent a little house or something. So we should probably turtle up together.
I mean, this is the most secure place we currently have because, hey, there are more levels here than there were before, and so on, so on. This is our fortress.
So we're gonna move into the office.
I mean, that's where I moved to like a week or two ago.
I had no idea. Okay. I mean, I knew you were always here, but I didn't realize you were always here.
Now I am. Ever since our incident.
Okay. So, I have my little brother. I have to get him here somehow without getting his name on any watch lists. So,
I mean, we could get him an internship.
I guess. But that puts his name on lists, so I would rather avoid that. But we can figure something out. We're clever. We'll order a pizza we'll dress him up in a pizza delivery boy costume and like get him inside, deliver the pizza, and then just, buzz him in and he doesn't leave.
I mean, Henry could probably give him some fake ID.
Yes,
This fake employee ID.
We do work in the security office. We can probably handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. We can turtle up here.
Guard looks at the ID like, yes, inconspicuous.
Yep. So your name is Normal. Okay.
So what else would you like to do this session?
Well, I don't actually have any specific plans. It sounds like we're kind of reaching the point where you're going to turtle up and deal with the threat as you basically permanently claim this place for yourselves at this point.
Right. It might be that Magadon is the one that gets fired. Let's just start building now.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like what you're ultimately going to be going for here. Pretty much everyone but Jewel is pretty clearly on your side, and Jewel will at least, be taken off the chessboard because you've told her not to help kill you.
Right. Also, we were friends, kind of. She might have killed me anyway on orders, but maybe not anymore.
Oh yeah, she's a Fomori. Friendship. What's the phrase? Friendship means for $5 she'd beat you with a cue stick until you got detached retinas.
Right. But
see, if we only had an Infernal that took that Fomori challenge, but they can serve it and someone be immune to all those Fomori drawbacks.
We will live without. It's fine. Henry is in a better place now. I mean, a much nicer office. Is what I really mean.
I figure he's still behind the scenes here, making sure the IT side of things doesn't come up against you. As far as IT is concerned, you all pretty much own this building at this point, if that's what you're going for.
Okay. Sure.
They'll have to take out their big data sphere guns to really have a chance against him.
Yeah. Meanwhile, my brother's like, am I not in school today? Well, there was a thing. Some people are going to try and kill me, and, you're safest here.
Mm-hmm.
That is probably going to require some sort of dramatic family intervention that we can do off screen if you want, but...
No, I have an idea for your brother, actually, so...
Okay.
But I don't have that ready for this time. Is there anything else you guys want to do in basically, the downtime before next session's big shit?
Probably give Kevin the heads up. So one thing that Mason has noticed, he keeps getting knocked over. That's a big problem. He's trying to figure out a solution for that. I've thought of a couple ways to do it, but I'll be practicing there, really intensely about how to avoid those constant knockdowns or deal with them if they happen.
Gotcha.
Working on his ground game in martial arts terms.
Right. You could take the acrobatics hobby talent.
Possibly. There's a few. I could think.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
There are
offline, it's fine.
options, yeah. Okay. Anything else from Dolores or Goth Lady?
Moment now.
All right. With that, then, we'll continue into terrible things happening next time, so thank you everyone for listening. This has been Chris Falco with Falconian Productions, and you've been listening to Exalted vs. World of Darkness Pentex.